What's going on, all you wild ghouls out there? Your two favorite dock workers are back here for 31 days of horror and the Cinephellas, boys. I am Logan Myers. It's my good mate over there.
And I'm Henry Hill, and tonight we were talking about the late 90s horror film. It used a lot of new metal in it. Mudvayne, the Mudvayne song in the beginning. That's what sticks out to me from this time period of movies. And tonight we are reviewing 2002's Ghost Ship.
I want to show you something.
I told you guys earlier if there was something seriously wrong with this boat, haunted, possessed, whatever you want to call it, I said we can all both go in and get the hell out of here. What are we going to do?
We have got to get off this boat now.
Bon voyage.
And that's right, we're back for yet another film for 31 Days of Horror. This film directed by Steve Beck. He's also the director of the movie we just reviewed as well, Thir13en Ghosts. So during this time, the 90s, early 2000s, you know, he's getting some big movies, and this is another pretty solid horror flick. Essentially had all the 90s 2000 actors that you would see a lot of films in this movie, but essentially the setup is a salvage crew discovers a big ship in the middle of the Bering Sea, abandoned, doesn't look like anybody's been on there for 50 years. It's all decrepit, it's falling apart. It looks like a ghost ship. So putting their minds together and heads together, like, let's check this out, let's see what we can find out. Of course, when they go into it, they find out that it's super haunted and people start dying.
Yeah, what would happen if somebody boarded the Titanic and there were a bunch of ghosts on board? That's basically what this movie was going for. The beginning scene is awesome, though, how it sets it up. Probably my favorite scene from the whole movie, actually. When the whole everybody's on the deck, they're dancing, having a great time. It's taking place back in the day, back in the I guess 1960s, and they're all dancing, having a great time, and something goes terribly wrong, and a cable comes down and basically dismembers everybody that's up on the dance floor. It cuts them right in half, and it's a really cool scene showing the bodies slowly start sliding off in half. So like torsos come off, some heads come off, and this little girl's dancing with somebody, and she's short enough where it doesn't get her. So she witnesses everybody die around her. It's a pretty gnarly scene to open up the movie.
This is just like the deadliest catch, literally.
Yeah.
The Bering Sea, that's what I thought of. But yeah, definitely one of the better openings in horror films during this time. Another one that comes to mind, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the lady puts a bullet or gun in her head, and you can see the camera goes through like the bullet hole, as she like falls back or whatever. But this one is super memorable, holds up 20 years later. It still looks really good. The CGI looks really good too. They just get cut in half. And the little girl's dancing with the captain. He's the one that like gets it through his mouth. The top head of his head falls off. But she's a big focal point in this film, essentially, with this salvage crew going in, into the ship to look around, finding some gold. They're like, how are we going to get this gold out of here? We're going to make a ton of money and retire. And of course, things don't go that smoothly for them as they start to encounter exactly what happened within the ship. And that's their captain, essentially, is played by Gabriel Byrne, big actor back then, too, as well, popping up a lot of films. But he's the old captain. Juliana Margulies is like his daughter. Working on the ship with them, and the rest of the cast they introduced.
Yeah, Ron Eldard, big actor at the time, is also in it. And then Desmond Harrington from Dexter, where we know him from last. Yeah, it's this salvage crew. They're going to try to find this treasure, basically, and one by one, they're seeing ghosts and seeing things, seeing strange things aboard the ship. And it all revolves around what actually happened with that ship back in the day and what went wrong and what was going on at the time. And you find out one of the ship members isn't who they say they are, basically. Has to do with the movie, though. But some cool suspense that's built on board with all the ghosts. Some really cool and eerie scenes involving that. It's, paranormal, that theme that we're going for this 31 days, watching a lot of ghost-related movies. And this one is no different. The CGI looks really good. And it holds up all these years later, going on, 20 years or more. And it still looks great. And I had a good time with this movie. Is it my favorite horror movie? No, not that. But for the time and for Steve Beck, coming off of 13 Ghosts, directing Ghost Ship too, he really delivered on the theme of ghosts and showing those on screen. He was able to capture that and give it an eerie vibe and it's a fun movie to watch during the 31 days of horror for sure.
I think I like this one a little more than 13 Ghosts. I know same director, but I think
Mhm.
the whole set design, everything was a little better in this film, I thought. I mean, the
Mhm.
ghosts looked great in 13 Ghosts, but overall, this is a better looking movie. The whole
Yeah.
spooky atmosphere inside the ship, you can put yourself in that situation, how eerie that would be.
Mhm.
Stuck in these tanks, and you're the only ones on there that you think, and you start hearing and seeing things that you can't explain, and really sets up a really eerie atmosphere. I love ghosts in general. I'm a huge paranormal advocate and follower of it. Have been for a long time, so I always dive, into paranormal ghost movies and rewatching ones that I remember growing up with in high school. This is definitely a fun rewatch. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but it definitely holds up. 21 plus years since it came out in theaters. A really solid cast in this. It was not a boring movie. I thought it was pretty interesting for the most part.
Mhm.
And the supporting cast is pretty good. A nice little twist at the end. Or I forgot about the ending, like who that was exactly, but I thought that was a cool little twist at the end. And overall, pretty satisfying movie during the Halloween season. So that being said, I'm going to give Ghost Ship from 2002. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Desmond Harrington hairpieces.
On the soundtrack, there's several songs that I remember from back in the day. Crawling from Mudvayne, and I'm going to say there's some Deftones on there as well. So definitely had the sound of our high school years, the new metal scene. They incorporated that into the movie. So I remember that, and I remember the poster too, showing the front of the ship and it having the skull on the front. A really cool poster, and then it's Sea Evil on the poster. Looks like that. So really memorable, not only from the opening scene, the poster, just the overall feel. Makes me think of that time in life, and had a great time with it. Like you mentioned, Steve Beck directing 13 Ghosts. I think this one was a little better than 13 Ghosts overall. I do like the design of the ghosts, the cool, unique ghosts from 13 Ghosts, but I think this being on the, out in the sea and the atmosphere that he created was a little better. I'd have to agree with you there too. So that is why I'm giving 2002's Ghost Ship a 3.5 out of 5 Gabriel Byrne hairpieces. So we want to hear from you guys. What did you guys remember about Ghost Ship the most? Did you guys enjoy it as much as we did? Have you rewatched it lately? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to float and click subscribe. Also follow along with these wild rascals each and every week on our, Cinephellas website, cinephellas.com, as well as our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And stay with us all 31 days of horror. We're reviewing a bunch of older movies and TV shows and newer movies and shows alike all month long. We're having a blast doing it. And we want to thank you guys for following along with us on the 31 days of horror. So, Uncle Logan, until the next 31 days of horror movie review, what do we like to say here? Cheers!